Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to This Week in Base Hit, where I am your host and also the manager of the Kalahari Red Goats. We're going to talk about that in a second. And I am joined, as always, by my lovable co-host, Citizen Clone. Clone, how's your week?
I like that pause where you were trying to think about
I was
what
trying to think of an
you're calling me.
adjective.
You were gonna call me some fucking thing, but how you doing, man? I
I'm
like that
good.
hat. I like what's going on back there. We
Yeah,
took a week
well,
off.
y-
We need some bonus content this week because
yeah,
stuff.
yeah. And so yeah, it's for those of you who don't know, there's a league out there called GOAT. That stands for the greatest of all time, and it's a 10-year sprint, and you do a full league draft, including drafting draft picks. Cool idea. And then you run 10 years to determine who is the greatest manager of all time. And as everybody knows, I've never lost after all of my manager disputes, all my objections, all my flag penalties. After talking to the owner of BaseHit, he's agreed with me, which is also me, but like I'm in two different roles. I'm undefeated in GOAT. And I think it's because of my commitment to my team. As you see, like I am wearing my Kalahari jersey, names on the back there. But it's one thing. I know I'm one of the only people that has a jersey for all of his teams. But not only do I have a jersey, I got my home jersey, I got my away jersey. I even have a City Connect. I have a City Connect. Now, the problem with the City Connect team is um, one of our biggest sponsors is a goat hot dog company, and so we made those like hot dog on a stick hats that are real high. They're actually not a big hit with the fans, and so we're going to probably go back to like a smaller version. But my my point is that I have a staff of 8 that does nothing but design jerseys, and we're really excited about the Kalahari pinstripes this year. It's a beautiful jersey, the red goats. And as you can see, here's a couple of my players with their City Connect jerseys on back here with
Oh my
our
God.
goat Billy. He's named Billy because a Billy goat is a male goat. And as you can see right here, he is a male. He is definitely a male. He's packing. Um,
Let's
so,
talk about goat. Let's talk about goat more than your team, since you brought
well,
it up.
I mean, if you want to talk about the rest of the league, I
My
don't know
first
why they matter, but
This is my first time. I did get invited to it years ago. Um, I'd like to say I got invited right away. I don't know if that's true or not, but for various different reasons I hadn't done it, but I'm going to do it this year. But I'm excited. And I do like, I don't know if they were the first one. Well, they're not. I know back in the day Moneyball did full league draft, so I know full league draft has been going on for a long time. I
not
don't uh,
sprints.
Yeah, there might have been some sprints before, but I know that yeah, formalizing it I really like, and I like the drafting of draft picks. That's a cool idea.
It is a cool idea. And
This
how they
draft,
do it, so people that aren't in the league know you can draft picks for the first 4 seasons, and then draft international free agents for season 5 through 10, which is a cool idea. And they make 35 IFAs, so there's enough people to draft, like
yeah,
reasonably, 7 or 8 guys that are solid team
and
contributors.
we talked about it last time, but I very much support alternative win conditions than just World Series. So you get that in this, and yeah, and I'm sure they've been influential. I mean, I'm sure that um, redraft spins off of this. It's similar, except it's 8 teams instead of 24, and it's one season. I mean, I've always said that. Sorry, you have your dynasty leagues that go forever, theoretically, and then you had GOAT that cuts it down to 10 seasons. You have redraft that cuts it down to one season, and and I'm pushing, and we're getting close to pushing it down to even shorter and shorter time frames. The ability to get get some results faster,
Yeah,
get
and
some
you
satisfaction faster.
and redraft sprint kind of try to combine the best parts of redraft and the best parts of goat. You have blab that has a different win condition with relegation leagues. So I think this is just a good point for anybody that's watching that is just in dynasty leagues. Those are great. They're awesome, but there's a lot of ways to play. There's a lot of leagues doing different rule sets and interesting things. Even small things like in TCL where it's one of the only leagues that has a variable cap in the season after the um, uh, 7-15, which used to be
Yeah.
the single date draft. Uh, will go you max out the salary cap to try and increase trades and free agent stuff. So lots of cool things. So go look for league rules that might interest you.
Yep.
You know?
Um,
I mean,
Speaking of,
but can I just point out how many teams actually have a real mascot with real players wearing real City Connect jerseys with them? I mean, I'm going to win. I'm
all
going to
right,
win.
maybe.
All right.
I have
So,
no expectations. I haven't looked back at the past, but
um,
I have no expectations. I'm just excited to get going on the draft. That is moving very slow.
uh,
Can we just record?
yeah. People
That's
got to
how, that's
speed
how
it up. Speed up.
I know that that's how it works, but
There's 23 people waiting on you. Hurry up.
I do think if you're in a full league draft, you should sign something that you're going to be never leave your computer for more than 2 hours. You're going to give your pager number, your every
Your home
number known
phone,
to man. Yep, yep,
your fax.
yep. Anyway, speaking of, I had a we've already talked a bunch about stuff. I had an inside baseball little conversation because we were just talking about different formats for the game, and we're getting close to announcing uh, something new coming. But it had me thinking as we talk about, and I don't know how I'm going to do it in GOAT, and I don't
Yep.
know how you redraft. I've been thinking about relievers.
Okay.
I've also been reading about the
What
Dodgers.
what about them?
How the hell do you deal with relievers these days? I don't know how to think about them, and I think I'm actually doing a particularly bad job with them in leagues. Like I don't know how much I'm in hard cap leagues. I don't know how much money to spend on relievers. Um, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know where to focus. This even came up when we were looking at how like computer teams get ordered when they're playing, right? And looking back at it and like where if you're putting in your best players, where are you going to put them? So I
Yep.
think like my preference from the way that I've played is like you probably put your best relievers like middle reliever one, maybe. I don't even know about that. Middle reliever one,
Yes.
setup one,
Well,
but
unless your closer options on.
or closer. So yeah, I'm
So
all
how I look at it is like manager settings. If you are keeping your uh, pitcher fatigue in the middle, you got to have your best pitcher reliever as middle reliever one, and your second best is middle reliever two. You have to because they will pitch double the innings of any of your other relievers.
That's how I think about it too, but you could
That
also say that setup, I didn't used to do it that way. I used to have my setup guys more, and maybe it's changed over time, but setup guys, you could say pitch in more high leverage situations,
well,
which is
yeah. Let me finish my thought
okay.
because I have
Okay.
a philosophy of this, and so if you're like me and you put your uh, pitching slider over to about like the 25% number, where it gets to full fatigue. Uh,
Meaning guys stay in longer, starters
yeah,
stay in longer.
yeah, starters stay in longer because I rely on the starters more. There is the upside of that is your starters are probably going to be your best pitchers, so they're going to stay in longer. The problem is, and especially this is where it comes in, is like how much side do you have on your team? Um, like how long can they pitch? How much power do you have? Because when they burn out, they're almost always in a leverage situation. They're going into the eighth inning, ninth inning, all of a sudden they're gone. And what happens is it will just automatically like bring in your closer in the ninth. In the eighth, it'll bring up in your setup guy, or
Yeah, yeah,
most times. And if that happens, you have to put your better guy. You have to put a good pitcher in your closer situation, even though when you look at him for the entire season, he's going to pitch like 20 innings. But all of them are highly leveraged situations. They're all in the
yeah.
ninth inning, they're all in close games. And I think people miss that all the time where they'll look at just the total innings pitched. They'll do middle reliever one, two, setup one, and then setup two or closer. And I think that's a mistake. Because if you go back through the game logs and look at every time your closer pitched, most of them you could
Yeah,
have
yeah.
won that game.
Yeah, that's what I need to go back and look because I have been impacted by the number of innings pitched. My feelings on this have changed over time, but I also just salary wise, like I know even if I've got
That's
good
ridiculous.
starting pitchers, you just like keep changing your
This
hat.
ad's ridiculous.
When I've got good starting pitchers and I'm like, and I want to get, I know I'm not gonna spend a bunch of money, but I want to get like serviceable relievers, but I can't decide like what is a serviceable reliever. How much do those players cost? Like what,
$1 million.
$1 million?
I don't know. I'm just throwing out a number, but like
I
for
don't know.
like
I don't know.
a like a middle reliever one, if yeah. But you can find if you have good infield defense, you can sometimes find those like high finesse guys that are fine at like
Yeah,
500, 700,000, but they have nothing else. So a lot of times they
yeah.
get just torched.
I think game wise, we would like to find ways to make
I can't.
relievers matter more too. You're using your hats in reliever situation, but yeah, I'm gonna look at if I go back and look, I feel like I've done a particularly bad job lately of running my relievers, and that's when I'm looking ahead at GOAT and imagining that there's a possibility that we would actually get through the first round of the draft and we would get into later, and if we would need more pitchers, like, am I gonna spend any money on it, or can I get them in free agency, or what the hell?
I actually have one hot take that I was looking at a couple weeks ago, and it's this. I'm going to make the argument if you look at the game logs, despite their terrible stats, that you can put a full scrub pitcher, 30s across the board at long reliever, and normally not have it cause you any losses, regardless of how bad they are.
Because long reliever is going to be
They're coming in
games
when,
games
yeah,
you're either getting blown out or you're blowing somebody else away.
yeah, it's almost like having a
Um,
position player pitch, but they're pitching for sometimes like 4 innings.
could
But
be
if you look at it, like they don't come in very often in a over a given season, and when they do, it's almost always in a situation that your likelihood to win is single digits.
could be. My memory, and I'm going to have to go back and look and see, but my first season in TCL back in the day, I had a good pitcher at long reliever who ended up going like 8-1 or 9-1 for that year. So I've always had a warm spot in my heart for
You had
those
a
guys.
long
Work.
reliever go 9-1.
I could be wrong. I'm gonna go back and look. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I mean, back in the day though, you pitched a lot of really low EN guys as starters.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
maybe they went four and the long reliever came in
yeah.
or
It could
something.
be, could be.
Because that's the problem with the win condition for starters, right? Like if they're winning, they pitch four great innings, the long reliever can steal the win. So maybe
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I haven't kept up on it, but in the modern baseball world, has anybody looked at they ever going to change those rules for what is a win?
they have to. It's such a shame what they're doing. Or, baseball's talking about doing the opposite, mandating that starters have to pitch 6 innings, which is crazy. That seems like a
Man,
crazy rule.
that's a bad
They're trying
idea.
to bring like prestige back to the starting pitcher. And I think what they're really trying to do is make sure the speed of the game stays steady so that they're, because they can see where it's headed. It's headed towards, six pitching changes a game.
Well, there's the yeah, and there's the. I mean, we can get into And there's the argument of I mean, there's less offense and there's higher impact pitchers because you could always bring in the next guy that could throw 100 miles an hour,
Yep,
but uh, but then you're blowing guys out. So maybe if the starters have to go that long, then
they'll tone
they're
it
not.
down.
Yeah, but just injury wise, I mean, the idea of forcing somebody to stay in there seems crazy. Yeah, no, I was just thinking about the win condition because there's pitchers right now that it didn't used to be the case. If pitchers go out there and throw 4 great innings, I mean, like,
Well, and it's
and
so
they're
unfair, right?
gone. Like that's not a failure.
The
And in the
win
past,
condition doesn't apply to any of the relievers. They can all get wins after one inning, but the starter has to go five.
Mhm.
Like it's a goofy system.
That's it. Well, I'm talking about not knowing how to deal with relievers in our game, but I mean,
Yeah, MLB hasn't
it's
figured it
really
out.
changed in MLB.
Yeah, well, because they're getting to the point where like, teams are trying to get extra roster spots because they want more pitchers. And they're going to have to make a decision one way or the other because they have all these pitchers getting blown out. They want to maximize the guys pitching 100 for four batters because, third time through the lineup,
Yeah.
teams get shelled. And so the numbers say you can't leave a starter in there that long. Um, I
Our,
don't know. I don't know what they're going to do.
we had recently when we were talking about Hall of Fame stuff, you were skeptical of what's his face, Billy Wagner, because you weren't sure that relievers deserve, but
That's
I
not, it's not exactly what I said, but yeah, yeah.
yes, you did. You said those motherfuckers don't work hard enough. No,
No.
you had some. What did you say? You tell me.
Well, what is funny though is because if you look, I bet of well, I don't know how you'd measure this, but as a percentage of games, I probably have the least amount of saves of anybody in the game's history because I never use the closer option.
Uh,
And so like maybe I do have maybe my game bias has bled
yeah, yeah.
over into regular baseball.
Um,
Um uh
a reliever's gonna get well that, but then yeah, it doesn't matter. We're just talking about it, but
yeah.
I was gonna say our relievers gonna get more love for the Hall of Fame as time goes on, as relievers become more important. I don't
Yeah.
know
Yeah, they'd
because you
have
have
to.
more, but then there's also like, is our saves still like because remember it used to be all about saves and the Rolaids award and everything else, but like
Yep.
I don't know, the set up guys now are critically important. I don't know.
Yeah, like our fireman award. I love when I see it go to a reliever that, pitched 70 innings as opposed to somebody that got 30 saves. Somebody that like is really a workhorse
Uh-huh.
or more than
Yeah.
70 innings, I mean. Um, yeah.
Anyway, you
So
give me some things to think about because I
relievers are
gotta
interesting.
redo my reliever strategy is what I'm saying.
Relievers are interesting. Yeah.
All right.
All right. So
That's plenty. Good luck and goat, man.
I don't need luck. I got this. Kalahari Red Goats. They're the best. Anyways,
Hopefully next week we'll be in round 2 of this draft when we talk.
I have an announcement.
Oh shit. What do you got?
Yeah. So, we announced that our new referral program,
Yeah.
and that when we would be doing a drawing, and somebody was going to win $100, not only for themselves but another $100 for the person that they referred. And I'm about to announce a winner.
Awesome.
All right. So
Uh,
I don't need a drum roll or anything, but the winner, and we're gonna keep doing this. So there's more $100 to be grabbed. So just keep referring people and keep winning money.
this was I was playing dumb, but this is existing owners referring new owners who stick around, who make an impact in the game, who
Yeah,
stick around long enough.
to get
Uh,
through their exhibition
yep.
league and keep playing.
Yep.
Um, yeah. So I mean, literally, I encourage everybody out there, quit your jobs, just start referring people, and you can live off this $100 whenever we hand it out. Okay, but in I'm excited to announce this. And I'll start announcing it on the podcast too. So the winner is my man CG underscore three, who was referred by my real man, Whit Jr. And Whit Jr. started his own league based on a blog he does called Inside Halos. He's a big Angels fan. And I presume, anyway, I haven't talked to CG underscore three, but that this person came in specifically to from his blog to play Inside Halos. So we're going to be reaching out to CG underscore three with Junior. You both got $100.
Awesome.
Congratulations.
Thanks,
That's
guys.
awesome,
Yeah, that's
right?
awesome. That is awesome.
I mean, Witt Jr. had a good chance to win this. I got to be honest, because he created a whole league around his blog, so he did a good job of referring. So I'm glad he put a bunch of opportunities in the raffle hat. So
Yeah,
thank you,
yeah.
Witt Jr. for the referrals. Thanks for getting that league start up, and hope you spend that $100 wisely.
It's right up there on the refer a friend. You see it every time you're on the site.
Yep.
Uh, do it. It helps us out.
It does. It really does. And I will gladly pay this money anytime to get good users because, as I've always said, the referrals are the people that stick around the most and love them. So thank you very much. Clone, anything else? Otherwise, we'll wrap it
Nope.
right there. All
That's
right.
it.
Go, go, go. Until next week, we are out of here.